So, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm really into Pokemon. So into Pokemon, in fact, that when Genshin Impact approached me to try their game, my first question was, how can I relate this back to nuzlocking? But after playing the game for quite some time, I started putting together teams of characters that really reminded me of my favorite nuzlocke strategies. However, I'm still missing just one. Rosaria. I really, really want Rosaria. Wait, why? Cause she reminds me of Frostlass, right? One of my favorite Pokemon to use in Nuzlocke, of course. Ghost types are really, really important. Today, I want to show you some of my favorite characters in this game and how their playstyles relate back to some of the most important Nuzlocke strategies that you should be using in your runs. Additionally, we'll be opening up some wishes to see if we can actually find Rosaria. So this is my favorite area in the game, which is the Spiral Abyss. The Spiral Abyss really challenges you in combat in this game. It's different dungeons with different floors that allow you to really express strategy. And I want to show you guys 3 different teams of 4 different characters that I really like and kind of relate them back to some Nuzlocke strategies that we normally use on this channel to kind of introduce them to you and to show you the strategic depth that we can go for here. And to kind of show you how cool some of these characters are. So here it's going to ask us for a buff that we can pick, one of 3. Normally here on the first chamber, I'll just pick the one that's effective for the entire floor. And the first character I kind of want to introduce to you guys is Diluc. He's a very slow, very heavy attacker who uses fire moves to punch pretty hard. And I'm very reminded of one of my favorite Nuzlocke Pokemon to use. Maybe not one of the most popular, but I think it's one of the most underrated, and that's Torkoal. I think Torkoal is exceptionally defensive and just does really, really well playing into different physical attackers. The slow but very powerful moves that Diluc throws out really reminds me of that. We can buff up his fire attacks here, and yeah, he hits pretty hard. Next up, I really like Yunjin. So Yunjin is a support character, and support Pokemon are often very underrated in Nuzlocke as well. So what Yunjin can kind of do is she can cast this buff and this shield, and then pass that over to the next character. And it reminds me a lot of using Ledian in Nuzlocke, which is another super underrated Pokemon. They use a lot of support moves like Encore and Light Screens to kind of buff up the rest of your team and make sure that the rest of your team is functioning well. So casting those support moves, those buffs, and then switching to your damage dealing character is kind of something that you do in this game as well. And it's a advanced Nuzlocke strategy that you should be using more. Going to this next chamber, I want to show you guys Layla, who has one of the cutest abilities in the game here. And it might just only be thematic, but if we cast this, we can deal some damage to them. And then we cast this here, and she's just going to fall asleep and kind of take a nap, be shielded, and have her abilities deal damage during that. That really reminds me of rest and either sleep talk or like damage over time, like toxic strategies in Nuzlocke. In hardcore Nuzlocke, you're not allowed to use items to heal, and one of the best healing moves in the game, because it's so accessible, is rest. So falling asleep to shield you, falling asleep to shield yourself, and then kind of dealing damage in the process. That's the strategy for Layla, and that's the strategy for Chesto Resto strats as well. Next up we have Lynette, who reminds me of another defensive strategy that is very effective in Nuzlocking, which is substitute strats. So if we use if we use Lynette's Q here, we cast this little puppet that enemies are going to be drawn to, and then that puppet is going to deal damage over time to them. Very much like you can hide a Pokemon behind a substitute in your Nuzlocke to prevent it from taking damage and deal damage over time back. You can use a Rocky Helmet, right? You can use Toxic, all sorts of strats to kind of deal damage over time here. And that's like kind of the strategy that Lynette will be using here as well, if she has her ultimate ability, her Q up. You can tell I'm not 100% proficient with these abilities, but I'm very excited about the strategies. So the first character I want to show you guys on this floor is Tignari. So as you can see, his arrow, you can fire it quickly, but it doesn't do almost any damage. You can charge up his arrow, and he's like a grass type archer. It charges for quite a while, but it does do quite a bit of damage. But what you can do with his special abilities is you can cast his E, and if you stand in this field,
who do you think you are?
It charges a lot faster, And does that remind anyone else of grass types using Sunny Day and Solar Beam? It's one of those strategies where if you start playing, you kind of think it's really, really good, and then you keep playing, and you're like, okay, this is maybe kind of not that great. But over the years, especially with Pokemon with Chlorophyll, I've really come to appreciate. We can cast his ultimate ability here as well, which is just a very big volley of arrows. Over the years, I've actually come to really appreciate, especially with Chlorophyll, Sunny Day Solar Beam users, being able to charge such a powerful attack so quickly. It's so effective, especially, like I said, if you can get Chlorophyll, that speed boost. And there's a lot of boss fights and a lot of vanilla games that just get cleared by that. And another grass user I kind of want to show you is Collei. Collei is also an archer, But Colette also has this boomerang, which deals damage on the way through and on the way back. And this is maybe a bit of a stretch. I just really like this character. But I will say it does give me an opportunity to mention U-turn and Volt Switch strats. The kind of going back and forth, going in, dealing damage on the way in and on the way out. It's one of the most effective strategies. In my Vintage White run, for example, we use that a lot. Especially if you get two Pokemon that both have U-turn, and you can just kind of go back and forth pivoting, you can achieve so much by tricking the AI into doing. And if a Pokemon can learn U-turn, you should always teach it. So this is Chi-Chi. And Chi-Chi's E is a little sprite that spawns. You see a little ball around me. And this periodically heals you. Now, the interesting part about that is if you switch to another character, the sprite will stay and it will keep healing you. And that reminds me of using wish strats in Nuzlocke, which is another pretty effective way of healing your character, is healing your Pokemon if you can't use items in battle like you can in your hardcore Nuzlocke. And then the next character I want to show you is Lisa here, who has a pretty weak normal attack. If you manage to charge it and actually hit it, it does quite a bit more damage. However, if you get hit while charging it, you will be interrupted, which is a little bit like Focus Punch in Pokemon. That's kind of how I think about it. Honestly, Lisa's just in here because I think she's really cool. We can go back to Chi-Chi here and cast her ability as well, cast her ultimate as well, which is going to freeze a lot. And now we can go back to Lisa, charge up big and hit a big hit, cast some more AoE here. Really nice combo there. You can think of it kind of like a bulky attacker, and Nuzlocke being supported by a defensive wish Pokemon like Togetic or something. Let's see what I get. That is Noelle. While Rosaria would not show up here, I was able to pull Noelle, a powerful knight who uses rock-type attacks to crash down on opponents. Her AoE plunging attack really reminds me of how effective using Rock Slide is in double battles for Nuzlocke. So first off, we have Hazo here, who has some of the most satisfying animations, maybe my favorite in the entire game. He does a bit of air bending, he does a bit of air damage, and pushes enemies back with his attacks. Very, very cool melee character. Very satisfying abilities to hit, as you can see. What this reminds me of, both like the satisfying hits and the stunning and knocking back to kind of stay in combat, is a paraflinch strats in Pokemon. Paralyzing a Pokemon and then using headbutt to keep the enemy from attacking and just keep on comboing. It is very, very similar to that. I really, really like that about Hazo. It's just like so satisfying to hit. It's so cool to pull off. And even like not the greatest Pokemon like Dunsparce or something can be made pretty damn strong through paraflinch strats. So you can pull off a lot. The synergy is quite nice. And pulling off like a 5 or 6 headbutt string, almost as satisfying as doing this. Another character I really want to show you is Sayu. And she also has a very, very fun, very satisfying ability to hit, and that's her E here. She rolls and dashes forward. She can combo that, she can chain that into another one. Boom. Just like you would in Pokemon using rollout. Rollout strats in Pokemon are another one of those things where like you initially think it might be really good, and then you play some more, and then you think, hey, maybe this is really bad. But there's a lot of situations where rollout strats are actually fantastic. There's some rollout strats in Crystal Kaizo. There's a rollout is one of the only ways to beat Lieutenant Surgeon Garbage Green, for example, using rollout Dunsparce. Some fights, if you prepare well, rollout can get you through fights that like no other Pokemon could. It's a potentially very powerful move. It just requires a lot of planning to pull off. Next character I want to show you guys is Yanfei. So Yanfei is an interesting range character. As you can see, if I use my ranged attacks here like this, you can see these little stacks, these little icons building up around me. And as these build up, these power up my next charged attack, like that. So the more stacks I have, the more damage those deal. My abilities also instantly stack up my charges. You can combo it like that, because you can perpetually stun them with these built up attacks. And probably the most powerful strat in any Nuzlocke is going to be setup strats. Using Swords Dance, using Calm Mind, using Bulk Up, setting up your stats, taking some extra turns, dealing a little bit less damage or no damage at all in the case of Pokemon. Maybe there's even Charge Beam strats to then deal some powerful blows right after. As you can see, we can just kind of, with these charge up moves, chain stun them. Now I'm out of stacks, so we gotta stack up again. And I'm running very low on health. So I guess it's time to show you the next character, which is Xinyan? Regardless, the most popular finishing move in Nuzlocke, and beginner Nuzlocke might scoff at it, but for us Nuzlocke veterans, it is one of the most reliable things you can do, especially in double battles, and that's going to be explosion strats. And I mean, while this explosion doesn't take out Jinyan herself, you do have to do the positioning correctly and use it at the right time, so you can deal a massive AoE bomb like this. It just does so much damage all in a circle, and it's a great finisher move. Again, exploding in nuzlocks in a game mode where you don't want your Pokemon to die, it seems strange to do, but very often that is the way to go, especially on like a champion fight or a very important like double boss fight. Gets done all the time in Kaizo games, right? Not only does it deal a massive amount of damage to the enemy, it also puts the tempo in your favor because you get a free switch to a Pokemon of your choice. That's why sacrificing Pokemon in Nuzlocke is so powerful, and it's such a good thing to keep in mind, especially for late game fights, but you gotta do it at the right time. And after clearing this dungeon with what might be my favorite lineup so far, I eventually got to open the wish to end all wishes. Oh, that looks real good. That looks real good. And we got Rosaria! No way. Her outfit is so damn cool. And we got Kei-Ching as well. The 5-star. She's fantastic. She's so good. This is an insane pack. Not only did this pack contain Kei-Ching, a blazing fast repositioning thunder attacker, she reminds me how insanely fast electric type sweepers like Electrode can rip apart the dozens of water and flying type trainers that are the mainstay of every Nuzlocke adventure. Seriously, it's by far the most common trainer class. Always, always, always use an electric type in your runs. No, the wish also contained Rosaria. There she was. Finally, I could go explore the open world with the coolest icicle spear user of all time. Get it? Because she's got a spear and she uses ice. Icicle spear is like a Pokemon. It's like a move. Do you get it? Look at this goddamn lush forest, by the way. Aren't you just expecting there to be a hidden town with like a fairy type gym here somewhere? Hello? I'm trying to enjoy the lush forest here. Can you please not impede? I'm just a tourist. I'm just admiring the sights. The mushrooms are attacking me. Oh, they're kind of cute though. Look at them hop. Look at them go. They'll never get to me. I can just outwalk them. Hello, sir. Oh, never mind. Oh, never mind. They shoot at me. Okay, I'm leaving. Is that a really old, really big robot? Oh, god damn, there's a gear at the top not connected to any other gears and everything. This is the real deal. Okay, I want to land on the robot. I want to walk on the robot. What is this guy? What do you think his deal was? Okay, I don't know about you guys. Traditionally, my least favorite part of any game is the desert area, but the desert in this game is vast. And you got these little oases in the middle of the mountains, just dug out. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Let's see if we can get out into the open desert. This is what the guys on Ancient Aliens think that the pyramids used to look like, I think. You know, I made it all the way here, and now that I'm here, I'm kind of realizing this thing is a little bit too intimidating for me. So let's go somewhere else. Alright, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm going through the desert and I see a giant tree made of water in the distance, I'm going to assume it's a trap. I'm going to assume someone wants to lure me there. If you want to go there and the whole Genshin Impact world for yourself, you can scan the QR code on screen to download the game right now. They've just recently been updated to version 4.3 and have a lot of new characters and 5 vast countries for you to explore.